And we can move on to the long-awaited pitches. The 10 finalists are very diverse tech for impact solutions, and they are very excited to pitch for you tonight. All finalists have 4 minutes to pitch, and which will be followed by a discussion by the expert panel. But let's not wait any longer and welcome our first participant. So Oxal joining us from Switzerland. Oxal's mission is to eliminate the discharge of persistent, mobile and toxic micropollutants from various bodies of water, and to preserve water resources for future generations using their nanoporous catalysts. We would like to welcome Oxal to pitch for us. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pajamishta. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Oxal. On this slide, you see an image that I took a few years ago of the famous Lake Lucerne in Switzerland. It looks beautiful, right? But sadly, this lake, among countless others around the world, are contaminated by thousands of harmful pollutants. And that is why I'm so excited to be able to present Oxal's mission today, which is to protect the health of our precious bodies of water by removing toxic organic pollutants at their source using Oxal's efficient and sustainable technology. At Oxal, we target organic pollutants that are coming from products used by each and every one of us on a daily basis, such as pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, pesticides, and even industrial chemicals. Due to their widespread use and ineffective treatments, we have started witnessing an increasing presence of these persistent, mobile, and toxic pollutants, not only in our surface waters, but sadly also in our drinking water, even in countries like Switzerland. This has resulted in enactment of strict discharge regulations on industries and municipalities. At the same time, the existing treatments, like incineration, suffer from incomplete pollutant removal and high CO2 emissions, which presents us with a great opportunity to enter market, as Oxal's novel solution successfully circumvents these shortcomings. So, what makes us better than the existing treatments? At Oxal, we have developed a smart nanoporous catalyst that gets activated by freely available clean energy sources like sunlight, mechanical noise, vibrations, etc. Once activated, our catalyst produces large doses of highly reactive radicals that then destroy all organic pollutants that are present in the wastewater in a unique, cost-effective, and sustainable manner. We have also protected a novel method of treatment by filing 2 patents. In our solution, we propose a decentralized cleaning by installing our reactors directly on customer sites, close to contamination source. After a catalytic treatment, the treated wastewater is then safe to use or even discharge. Here you see the results from one of our recent paid pilots at a Swiss treatment plant, where we successfully targeted every single pollutant, even the most persistent ones, and removed them by over 96%, easily meeting the new discharge regulations imposed by the Swiss government. Our strong value propositions include guaranteed removal of more than 95% of all micropollutants and providing the option of reusing the treated wastewater. We use eco-friendly materials, clean energy sources, and do not produce any CO2 emissions during our treatment, allowing our customers to enjoy a sustainable image. Our cleaning material has a long lifespan, which makes the technology 2 to 6 times cheaper than the existing treatments. Our highly scalable, decentralized treatment makes the technology easy and safe to use while readily complying with the discharge regulations. These strong value propositions makes Oxal's global market share worth more than 7 billion euros. We will generate revenue from licensing a technology to a manufacturing partner. A second and main source of revenue will be generated from the recurring sales of a catalyst, which Oxal will manufacture and replace. And we will also be providing water quality analytics to our customers after sale. So far, we have successfully completed several customer pilots, including paid ones. We have developed strong collaborations with potential industrial and strategic partners, and we have raised 3.5 million euros in non-dilutive funding, which will allow us to bring our first product on the market by 2023. And now I'm happy to present to you Oxal's greatest asset, our incredible team. We're a team of highly motivated engineers, material scientists, and marketing strategists who are determined to bring our innovation to market. We also have a strong advisory board comprised of many industrial experts. Recent headlines indicate that time is running out in protecting the health of the planet, and we need to find new solutions before we cause damage. new solutions like Oxal, where we have repeatedly validated our technology's superiority. And with your support today, we hope to achieve our mission. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fajer.
Yes, thank you so much. Pesticides and yes, thank you. Yes, pesticides and water pollution are a very urgent topic, which is also on the political agenda at the moment in Switzerland. And it is a comparable, easy solution, you could say, for a complex issue with a high impact potential. Michele, how do you assess the technical innovation and what do you think about the implementation challenge of Oxal?
Yes, thank you very much, Mariana, for the question. I think on one hand side, from a technology standpoint, this is a very innovative solution because it combines a catalytic system together with a filtration technology. And also I like a lot of decentralization aspect thereof. I have a question, and that is really how far is decentralization going here? What's the target? Is it going to go even towards household at the end of the day, at the consumer level, or does it stay more in the public sector?
Yes, water pollution through pesticide is a worldwide problem, and the SDG 6 wants to improve global water quality. Rod, this question goes to you. Do you see scaling potential, and where would you start in a first step?
Can you hear me okay? Because I have
Yes.
a slight... oh, good. That's great. Thank you. Yeah, so very interesting. I mean, obviously, probably best to start in Europe. I think the partners that flashed briefly up on the screen seemed like European partners, so that would give them some credibility. I would have liked to hear a little bit more about their strategy for scaling and rolling this out. It's one thing to have a really great product, but it's really critical, and a lot of impact entrepreneurs miss this. They need to figure out how to get it sold, and that's often not the best technology, but a strategy around how you penetrate markets and how you use those partners to help you do that, use partners to help you do that. I think their commercial model makes sense, but I would have liked to hear more about that, and also how much money they're raising. I hope all the pitchers will tell us what they're looking for.
Okay, thank you so much, Rod. With this statement, with a lot of questions, I give back to Eleanor.
Thank you so much to the expert panel. And next up is a startup from Norway, actually. So SignLab is developing a digital learning tool that makes learning sign language more accessible, effective, and affordable, thus helping deaf children and family to fully participate in society. Welcome, Andre.
Hello everyone, I'm Andre from SignLab, and as it was introduced, we are making sign language accessible to everyone. And learning sign language is hard. About 5 years ago, I met a mom to a 4-year-old deaf daughter. And she was tearing up because she has been trying to learn sign language for the last 3 years, but have been unable to do so. She lives in a small community in Norway and had no one to practice with. And now she saw her daughter's peers in kindergarten learning new words by the day. And she told me that she felt tremendous guilt when she saw her own daughter falling behind. And I'm sure we can all empathize with how it must be to be a mom or a parent in that situation. And unfortunately, it's not a special case. In high-income countries such as Switzerland, 3 out of 4 parents to deaf children are unable to learn sign language well enough such that it does not adversely affect their own child's development. In emerging markets, that's even worse, with 9 in 10 parents to deaf children unable to learn sign language. When you see a statistic like this, you know that an important problem is not being solved. And it affects a lot of people. More than 60 million people are either a parent or a sibling to someone who is deaf and communicates through sign language. And how can it be that a parent are unable to learn something so vital that will enable them to freely communicate with their own child? And the reason for that is that sign language today is taught in brick and mortar schools, and they are few and far between. If you want a substitute, they will give you a book or a poster, as it shows in this slide. And that is about as useful as giving you a book and tell you to learn to dance tango. It simply does not work. And that is why we are so excited to show you our learning platform for sign language, Toleo, which is fun and engaging. Here you can pick a lesson that is relevant to you, and you learn through play in a fun and engaging manner. If you want to review what you have learned, you can do that in our AI-based review tool. If you want to look up a sign on the go, you can do that in our dictionary. And that satisfies AAA rating for educational products, where we improve access, we lower the cost at the same time as we improve learning outcomes. And our users agree. They say that this is a course that fits everyone. A 7th grade teacher tested this in her class, and she saw that her students were engaged and wanted to learn more. And a parent says that this is exactly what she's been looking for her family. And we also see it through our user growth. In Norway, we are now reached more than 20,000 users, and we have had $0 spent on marketing through the entire period. Our business model is long-term government contracts. And in countries such as Switzerland or as Norway, and it's a subscription model with a freemium component elsewhere. So that if you want to learn a bit sign language, you can always do so. And if you want to learn more, you can pay for a premium subscription. We have launched in Norway, and we are now this August launching in China, India, and Indonesia. And we hope to come to major European countries by next year. We are built to scale, and we aim to reach 60% scalability within the end of next year, and we are on track at reaching that goal. Our team consists of people with business expertise, sign language expertise, and technical expertise, and we are growing quickly. Thank you for watching our presentation, and if you want to reach out to us, you can do that at the email below.
Great. Thank you, Andrew, for this pitch.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much for this interesting presentation. Gregor, how do you assess the digital solution and therefore the impact scaling opportunity of Sign Lab?
Yeah. Well, I definitely believe that the impact potential of Sign Lab is impressive, and apparently they have tapped into a market that was just not digitizing so far at all. So taking the UX they are presenting and they are offering to the families, to all the environment of affected people, together with their scalability in the business model, I really believe that there is a lot of potential for them.
Yes, thank you so much. And the next question goes to you, Eric. What do you think about the implementation skills of the team? They have just a lot of plans and scaling goals. What do you think about this dimension?
Thank you, Mariana. I think it's an interesting proposition in terms of the business model, which is a license. Now the question there is how fast can you get traction with the governments? And why did you pick obviously China and India as and Indonesia being big markets, but not quite the standard in terms of accessing from Europe? So there are a couple of questions how you can roll out. The good thing about licensing and the SaaS model behind it is obviously scalable. But there I'm obviously lacking a bit of question or answers to those questions. But I wish them all the success, because the problem is there and the solution seems to be here.
Thank you so much. Eleanor?
Thank you, Eric and Gregor. Let's move on with the third pitch. This is a startup that comes from Switzerland, and Reefs rebuilds coral reef using their scientifically developed modular reef system. Using 3D printing, they aim to scale up and bring back abundant marine life, create new underwater attraction for ecotourism, raise awareness and protect coastlines. Welcome, Ulrike.
Hi, thank you very much. I've started screen sharing. I'm Ulrike, co-founder and lead scientist at Reefs. Coral reefs sustain a quarter of all life in the oceans, but this most biodiverse ecosystem on our planet is about to go extinct. And the major causes for that are pollution, overfishing, and climate change. And when corals die, the underlying reef structure loses most of its three-dimensional complexity. This leads to lots of animals losing their habitat, biodiversity drops, and the reef has hardly any chance to recover from this. But not only the ocean suffers, so do coastlines and people. Reefs provide food and income to entire island states, and they function as protective barriers, absorbing over 90% of the wave energy. They also produce new sand. When reefs die, beaches and coastlines erode, fisheries collapse, and tourism drops. We are not ready to let that happen. We rebuild coral reefs sustainably, scientifically, and with artistic vision. Our lightweight reef module is 3D printed from natural materials with newest technology. They are easy to handle and stack in the water, and that way we can customize each reef's shape to direct the water flow. And the surface of our bricks are scientifically designed to help baby corals settle and grow, which stabilizes coral populations and helps them adapt to new conditions. The hollow design of our bricks creates new habitat for thousands of reef animals, helping to re-establish that natural ecosystem balance. Our reef system is scientifically tested, it brings back vibrant reef life, and it prevents coastal erosion. And every kilometer of reef that we build creates new habitat for over 600 million animals. It equals up to $4 million worth in coastal protection barriers. Many developed coastlines in the US receive hazard reduction benefits from reefs of over $10 million per kilometer per year. And every year, this reef will also produce over a ton of local seafood sustainably and generate about $50,000 on average in income from tourism. We work closely together with local organizations to make sure that each reef that we build fits into the environment and all local stakeholders are satisfied. Our partnerships with national and international stakeholders are our strengths and help us scale. Our business model has two phases: impact demonstration and community building, followed by growth and impact scaling. We're currently financed by crowdfunding and continued donations, and we're right in the middle of phase one. The most important milestone this year is clearly our pilot reef in Colombia, which is supported by the Colombian Ministry of the Environment and Conservation International. This truck-sized reef will help us further improve our system and demonstrate its impact. We're currently looking for sponsors for our second pilot reef in the Maldives 2022. And that year, we will also start generating revenue by helping eco-resorts replenish their reefs and by issuing biodiversity tokens. Long-term then, we aim to sell and build our reefs as nature-based breakwater solutions. We are an all-female team at the moment, supported by many passionate volunteers and students. I'm Reef's lead scientist. Marie is our artist and material specialist. And we have Hannah, environmental scientist and professional diver. She's responsible for field operations. Our second Hannah is developing reefs into a social business together with Josephine. We're also currently supported by 2 accelerator programs and experienced advisors in finance and business. The Reefs community is growing every day, helping us raise awareness and multiplying our positive impact, and we're counting you in. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to this interesting presentation. The team is building up their growth strategy step by step with different pilots. Donat, what is important for the next development steps for Reefs to successfully scale the business in your opinion?
I think they have all the right ingredients in the team. And it has going to be a combination between working together with partners, the local governments, the local environmental societies, the local tourism, which is something which will be easy to convince them. But at the same time, you need to get the science straight. So having built it and explained it to us is brilliant, but get all the facts behind it to support your claims, show the science, do the pilots, get the numbers, and then you can combine both the partnership and the numbers.
Thank you so much, Donald. Rod, what do you think about this solution with the 3D printing technology?
I really enjoyed Ulrike's presentation, and I thought the product is, well, it's certainly cool, that's for sure. I wondered to myself whether there was a viable long-term economic model, because of course 3D printing is expensive, and you need to do many, many, many kilometers of coastline. And I just wondered if, I mean, governments need to do this. The urgency for governments to repair and preserve our coral reefs is just without question. I just have real doubts as to whether or not governments will actually spend that money, especially at times like these. So I think they have a really cool product. I really love the presentation, but I think they have some real challenges in finding people to pay for it.
Yes, thank you, Rod. With this, I give back to you, Eleanor.
Thank you so much.
Presentation.
Thank you, Mariana. Thank you, Ulrike, and to the expert panel. And next up is a startup that is actually here in person. They might come up, might not later. We will see about that. But they are still doing their online pitch from our event space. They are a startup called NatureLoop, and NatureLoop is developing a technology to transform domestically available agricultural byproducts into alternatives to wood-based panels in developing countries. Daniel, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the introduction. 80% of the world's tropical forests have been destroyed, and the price of this destruction is escalating climate change, biodiversity loss, and it's also making communities shift out of their natural habitat. The countries to protect the remaining forest have slowly begun implementing logging bans. And this is causing wood-based panels not only to increase in price, but also for countries to be importing them at insane rates. Now, some of these countries that do experience deforestation are abundant in coconut husks. Coconut is one of the main agricultural byproducts is coconut husk. And of this husk, actually, we can use this because 21 million tons remain at the farm level every year, and it's either burned or dumped. This is coconut husk here. I have it with me. And now I can present to you cocoa board. Together with Bern University of Applied Sciences, we actually developed this panel as a sustainable substitute to wood-based panels. And it's made by combining the husk, fibers, as well as a bio-based adhesive developed in our labs. Now, when it comes to properties in comparison to these existing panels on the market, what separates cocoa board from them is its bio-based composition, its zero formaldehyde emissions, and its strong resistance to both termites and moisture. Our goal at NatureLoop is to offer these benefits to customers without cutting down one single tree. Now, this 21 million husks can be upcycled to cocoa board. And by doing this, we could actually replace about 20% of MDF. MDF is actually one of the most popular products within the wood-based panels family. And on the social impact side, by working with the farmers and actually allowing them to get involved in the supply chain, we can actually boost their income by a minimum of 1/3. To test the product, we teamed up with Hilti Foundation in a social housing project. We were able to test the product at real-life scale. We went back to the labs, made changes to the product formulation and production technology, and at the moment, it's being tested with partners from Europe. Now, NatureLoop earns revenue through the sale and distribution of cocoa board, which is distributed through two models, direct and wholesale. Our first factory will be in the Philippines, where we plan to actually distribute most product locally. But with that being said, we would like to slowly begin exporting to Europe because of the strong desire for bio-based products. With where we stand today, we protected the technology of cocoa board, we validated customer interest, and we've locked in a solid relationship with our industrial partner in the Philippines. This makes the rest of this year dedicated to finalizing the production technology. Moving into next year, we'll slowly open up pre-sale orders. And by doing this, we'll be running marketing campaigns and having our feet on the ground here in Europe, but also in Southeast Asia. This makes 2023 the year of cocoa board sales, but also the time to start thinking of expansion. We already have our eyes on Indonesia and India, where the story is quite similar. many coconuts and a lot of imports of wood-based panels. And we would like to launch a franchise business to really scale the production. Moving on to our team, we're a team of 5 individuals, passionate individuals who have relevant knowledge not only through education, but also through work experience. And we're complemented by an advisory board of experts, entrepreneurs, and those in industry for some of the largest panel manufacturers and furniture makers. At this point, I thank you for your attention, and I welcome you to vote for Nature Loop, because with your help, we can take one step forward to creating a sustainable future by upcycling agricultural waste.
Yes. Yes, thank you so much, Nature Loop. Michele, how do you assess the underlying research, and what do you think about the different application options?
Yes, I mean, I really like the expertise on the team in terms of research and technology. They have a lot of I would say wood technology expertise there, and therefore I think it will be fine. I mean, from that standpoint on, they're also doing the right experiments in terms of validating the technology. I think what's going to be really important is the supply chain, and including the local aspect thereof at source, the sourcing of the cocoa husks, and that in relation to the performance of their panels, because very often the materials determine the type of applications that one can achieve, and therefore I think lots of research is needed there, potentially to satisfy the demand for different applications.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Rod, where do you see the biggest challenges for Nature Loop?
Well, I think I agree with the gentleman who just spoke. I think it's really, one thing I would say is it's really great that they were able to test it in that social housing project. I don't remember the exact location of it, etc. But I think that for all of these businesses, the ability to prove that the product works, that it delivers, that it has the benefits that they talked about being water resistant and termite resistant, that's great, but also that it stands up under pressure in a building site. I think that's going to be really critical. I would also emphasize the point that the gentleman just made. You want to be doing this in places where there are coconuts, obviously, and I think after the Philippines, it'd be interesting to see how they expand this geographically and how they're able to protect their IP.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Rod. Eleonore?
Thank you so much to you all. Next up is a French startup, Fairbreaks. So Fairbreaks fights climate change by developing circular manufacturing process in the clothing industry, which uses renewable resources instead of petro-sourced products. We're glad to have you tonight, Benoit, and we look forward to your pitch.
Hi, I'm Benoit, CEO of Fairbreaks. Do you know what will have the most impact on climate change next year? The clothes we will buy or the flight we will take? It's the clothes. If nothing is done, by 2050, the fashion industry will be responsible for 1/4 of the global emission. The same impact as the most polluting country today, China. Fashion brands have committed to be carbon neutral by then, but how will they succeed without a solution? They need a new approach to creating fabrics. That's where Fairbreaks come in. We are making sustainable fabric out of thin air. We have developed a breakthrough chemical process to convert CO2 into polyester. Polyester is the most used material in the industry. It represents over half of the market. It's a plastic made out of petroleum. Our solution, instead of using petroleum product and emitting CO2, is using CO2 as a building block to create new fabrics. It's cost competitive, and the resulting product is identical to the one used today. The technology is based on the work of my co-founder, Taufik. For the last 7 years, he has developed new catalysts and new process to convert CO2 into high-value chemicals. As for myself, Benoit, I've scaled up several products from the lab to large-scale industrial success. Today, we are a team of 8 PhDs with the passion of making the future more sustainable. In the last 2 years, we have already proven our method by producing our fur garments. We are building a patent portfolio, and we have set up 2 research labs within the accelerator of Air Liquide in France. Our long-term business model is based on licensing. We want to license this technology in the form of royalties and license this technology to existing polyester manufacturer and collect revenue in the form of royalties. But today, we are creating partnership with brands to create a market pool. To date, we have already generated 110,000 euros of POCs, and we've got commitment for 600,000 euros. It's a long-term project. Today, we are still in the development phase, in the lab phase. Next year, we are going to build our pilot line, and we're currently fundraising for this, 4.5 million euros, to scale up the technology from the kilogram scale to the ton scale. Once we have reached these milestones, we'll be ready to build our first flagship factory to be able to license our technology and have a strong impact on the CO2 emission by 2028. Our total addressable market for the fashion industry only is worth $60 billion and is growing at a rate of 7% per year. Moreover, there are dozens of other industries we could tackle the same way. And we could save to the fashion industry 1.5 gigatons of CO2 by 2050. We are changing the way clothing is made, and we are making possible what was a dream yesterday, making sustainable fabric out of thin air. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Fairbreaks. Eric, what do you think about the solution of Fairbreaks?
I mean, it sounds almost too good to be true, frankly speaking. So I'm super excited. I've been following a Swiss company in the apparel market, been there in the board for 8 years. They recently IPO'd in London, and it takes quite a time to get the production and the scalability. So my question here is whether they be able to, as mentioned, produce this at a cost competitive price, and then with the pull-push strategy mentioned, be able to convince the brands, but also the production, the polyester industry, which is very conservative, and be able then to lock that into existing production processes. If they manage that, that would be fantastic. And if he wants to have connections to the apparel industry, he can for sure contact me.
Thank you, Eric. Gregor, what do you think about this solution?
Well, I mean, I would definitely agree with what Eric just said, that the market and the size of the market is just impressive, and the potential impact in this market is simply huge. However, what I believe as well is that in terms of market dynamics that are ongoing, there's a lot happening, and it's a speed game. It's to be at the right moment, at the right place, with the right connections to actually bring this in. And if they succeed, this can become great. But again, I think there are a lot of things that need to go right the next years in order to get this happen.
Maybe one marketing advice.
Oh well, those are pros. I wouldn't give any advice at this point. I just think what we also noted when we are looking at this pitch in the jury is that they have a great team of researchers just making sure that the business, the go-to-market, the marketing is enough present and gets the space needed in order to further develop the company.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Eleanor, I hand over to you.
Thank you so much. And the next company or startup is joining us from Turkey. According aims to afforest remote areas using drones that shoot seed balls, fostering tree growth. And these seed balls are produced by women who suffer from income inequality due to climate change. So we're very excited to have you tonight, Echi, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, hi Eleanor. I'm Ece. I'm the Strategy and Business Development Manager at According, and the climate change being the world's biggest problem is an indisputable fact. And according to IPCC, we need to stop that increase until 2030, and the tipping point is closer than we all think. And to stop that increase to 1.5 degrees, we need to take right actions. And those actions would be to reduce the consequences of climate change. We need 1.2 trillion more trees. And with conventional methods, it's impossible to achieve. So we developed something innovative. And the innovative thing is EcoDrone. EcoDrone is an unmanned aerial vehicle that developed by us and that delivers seed ball shots to ground to hard to reach areas for each product and service that our customers sold. And that product has a shooting capacity of 2,050 seed balls in 10 minutes, and also can fully autonomously aerial seed in 3 square kilometer area. And that method, throwing seed balls with eco drones, helps us to reduce the cost, which allows us to have 12 times less afforestation costs. And those seed balls, compared to traditional methods, with our special mixture around the seed, is 16 times more effective than effective in conventional methods in seed germination. We cover the seed with a special mixture, as I mentioned, with clay, with porous soil, with water, and minerals. And those seed balls are produced by women living in rural areas who are disproportionately affected by climate change. Until today, we supported 41 women on accessing different sources of income and job opportunities. And those research and development of those seed balls are executed with the General Forestry of Turkey and also one of the leading universities in forestry in Turkey. We are currently doing R&D in 8 species. And I want to show you some couple of photographs from our operations to see how those seed balls that EcoDrone Throw are doing. And in the 15 minutes of a planting operation, 2 people are able to plant 8 trees, but 2 EcoDrones can achieve 450 trees in the long term. So it's much faster. And our business model is based on the most sustainable thing in the world, which is consumption. And we cooperate with brands to transform the way we consume. We cooperate with the brands to throw a seed ball for each product and service that the brand sold. So we are transforming the environment and transforming the system, actually. And this business model can be implemented, can be integrated to textile industry, FMCG, banking, etc. Several industry integrations are available. And our total market size is dependent on one of the biggest budgets in any company, which is marketing and communication, and also the sustainability and CSR budgets. One of our customers that we are currently selling are Dell Technologies Turkey, Intel Turkey, DHL Turkey, Kiehl's Turkey, Nike Turkey, and many more. And we are also Green Tech Alliance member in Europe. We are ambition and we have lots of goals for the future, but a couple of them are, we started 5 years ago. The idea started in 2016, and then our first MVP of EcoDrone came in 2018. And then now we are going global. We want to not only have impact in Turkey, but we want to go global. And then we started the global expansion with Netherlands last month, and we want to operate also in other continents in the next years. Until today, we EcoDrone throw more than 3 million seed balls, and with that, we work with 41 women. Within 9 years, we want to throw 1 trillion seed balls with EcoDrone. And by doing that, we want to work with 26,000 women. And we are a team of young entrepreneurs, young engineers by a majority. And we also have academic advisors with us. And as I mentioned, we are young, we are passionate to work on this problem. So take action with us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much about this engaged speech. Rod, what do you think about this solution?
I think it's really fantastic. I was really, when I looked at the business plan beforehand and I heard the presentation, I thought it was just really cool. What a great way to solve a critical problem, which is the fact that we need to plant 1.2 trillion trees. I can't, for the life of me, imagine how the women are going to be able to produce with 26,000 women, I think 1.2 trillion trees. I would love to really make sure I understand the math of how that works better. Also, I do wonder if the model is the right model. So sorry if I'm coming off always a bit critical, but I think it's probably just as helpful. It sounds like the model is somehow linked to corporate branding, and I'm just not sure that's the best way to go about it. I think the government obviously can be a contractor. I think corporates are fine, but I also, because there are CO2 reductions, I wonder if there's not payments they can receive for the carbon reductions that they're generating. So I would like to test and understand the model a little bit better and see how that can be more commercialized.
Thank you, Rod, that you spoke about the model, because the model, that was originally a question I wanted to give to you, Donat. Maybe you can add something.
Oh, I love this. This is complex, holistic. It has drones and trees and T-shirts and women and balls and everything. But the ultimately cool thing, and that's why I would challenge your angle, Rod. Governments, they're nice. Governments with big pockets, yes, all of that. We can add in certificates. But if I buy a product and it says this was produced in a sustainable way and some certificates, I don't understand anything. But if I buy a pair of On shoes, or like you have Fairbreaks, I buy them, I see the code, I scan, bam, a tree falls down. How amazing is that, right? It's involvement of consumers and of companies. Or DHL guy came this morning, he brings a packet like this, I see a code, I scan, bam, a tree falls down. I love this.
Okay, there are different views about the business model. Let's see what the future will bring. Eleanor, you can introduce the next pitch.
Thank you so much. And so the next startup joining us is from the UK, Urda Development Solution finances, installs, operates and maintains off-grid distributed solar energy systems for community and farm use in India. By doing so, they improve livelihood, reduce poverty, enhance food security, and tackle climate change. Welcome, Clementine from Urda Development Solution.
Hi, hello everyone. I hope you can hear me fine. Yes. So hi everyone, my name is Clementine and I'll be presenting on behalf of Urda today. Urda is a social enterprise operating at the intersection between renewable energy and sustainable agriculture. And our mission is to boost the livelihoods and the profitability of smallholder farmers across the globe. So why should we be worried about smallholder farmers? Well, these farmers, who farm usually around 1 acre of land each, actually grow most of the world's food. And many of them are based in India. Now, they face various challenges, but a core challenge is to do with lack of access to reliable energy at the farm level. So if you can imagine a smallholder farmer, they're reliant on fuels such as diesel, and this is the situation for millions of farmers across India today. And that means that they're unable, this fuel source is so expensive and also very polluting, so they're unable to irrigate at the right times. And that same problem appears across the agricultural value chain in other activities such as milling or processing. So at the end of the day, this puts a damper on the agricultural productivity that a farmer can achieve, and it also limits their income. So you can see how lack of access to reliable and modern energy sources actually limits the economic development of entire subcontinents such as India. And while there are alternative technologies that exist, they tend to have a very high upfront cost. So this is where Urda comes in. Our innovation is a disruptive business model paired with proven technology. So what Urda does is we finance and install distributed solar infrastructure, which is installed at the farm level. And these solar assets are then operated and maintained by the company for their full lifetime, usually around 20 years. And we recover the investment that we made by selling various reliable and affordable farming services on a pay-per-use basis. So what this does is It removes the cost barrier for acquisition of solar technology, and it allows our customers to gain access to a wide variety of benefits, including reducing their input costs, increasing their agricultural productivity, and allowing them to grow new crops, therefore increasing their income. And our core focus in terms of these services is small and marginal farmers. They're not an add-on for us. And we also differ from most other solar companies in that our aim is not to have a farmer buy their own solar equipment, but rather to make it available to groups of farmers on a service basis. And that's how we get this technology to those who really need it the most. So we've piloted and verified this model across 3 different agricultural verticals so far. These are irrigation, milling, and most recently cooling. So these are all available on a service basis. And we've so far tested these among around 2,000 farmers and their families across 2 states of northern India. I would also mention that not only the direct impact of our services, including reducing the input costs and increasing the productivity of farmers, but for every cluster of projects that we install, we actually create direct full-time employment in rural communities as well. And that's been an advantage in that it's allowed us to create jobs even during the pandemic and to keep our services running even during the worst periods of the pandemic. Urda is today a team of 18 passionate and dedicated people. Most of us are actually based at our field locations in rural India. And together we handle a variety of different functions, from raising the finance for these projects to handling the operations and maintenance, to doing the payment collections, to monitoring the impact. And together, so far, we've deployed 24 solar projects in 2 states of India. So like I said, we're reaching about 2,000 people so far. And because we're very dedicated to measuring our impact, we've seen that in just 1 year of having farmers switch from diesel to solar pumps, they were able to save 25% on their irrigation costs, increase their crop yields by about 15%, and increase their agricultural income by almost 30%. So these are really significant changes for our smallholders. And across the company's operations so far, we've been able to save around over 30 tons of CO2. So this is just the beginning, really. We now have validated our operations model across these segments and the technology selection that we have made. So our next challenge is to, we've already identified different partner networks who are linked to smallholders in the geographies that we focus on. And we'll be cross-selling various integrated farming services to these farmers in order to scale up our impact and our operations. And we're already backed in our mission by several impact investors. We've raised over $1 million USD so far, and we hope to use that to reach almost 100,000 farmers and their families over the next 4 years, and therefore amplify our impact in the energy and agriculture space. So thank you so much for your attention, and yeah, looking forward to your questions and feedback. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, especially for this impressive impact snapshot. Michele, what do you think about this business model, and especially about the combination of the different services?
Yes, I mean, I really love the solar as a service. I think this addresses a major pain in their customer base. On the other hand side, it is also scalable from a service standpoint. I mean, you can add tomorrow, it can be telecom, it can be other services other than cooling, energy, and irrigation. So I think that that's a very interesting model. Where I see the challenge really is it will require quite a bit of investment on one hand side to scale this, since it seems the company is investing themselves into all the hardware, and also to maintain that hardware. I mean, it generates employment on one hand side in rural India, that's great, but what are you going to need in terms of payroll? You will want to control the servicing of these equipment, and so that I think will be a major challenge.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Rod, what is your perception of the startup?
Depressingly, I had exactly the same things to say that the previous speaker said. So I really don't I'm afraid I don't have anything to add. Maybe somebody else around the table has a comment.
Okay, Donat.
Oh yeah. This award and this competition is called Tech for Impact. Well, this is one of the only startups which doesn't develop own technology. It's a business concept, and it's a way how to bring proven technology into a use in a difficult environment. And that has been done by cooperating with the villagers, with all the challenges which you mentioned. But this is an interesting one. It's how do we get tech out there, not how do we come up with new tech. So I'm amused.
Okay, thank you so much, Donat. Eleanor.
Thank you, Clementine, and thank you to the expert panel. Next up, we have a startup joining us from Switzerland again. MyLeg helps amputees improve their walking abilities by using a non-invasive sensory wearable that increases the perception of the prosthesis as a body part. We are thrilled to have you, Giacomo, and we look forward to your pitch.
Yeah, thank you. Imagine you're walking and you step on an obstacle. In that moment, you can feel your foot. You can feel the position of your leg, and you can counteract that event, avoiding the fall. But if you're an amputee, you don't perceive any sensation from your prosthetic device. So you're not able to react at that event, and you probably fall with high risk of damage. This is what happens if you're a lower limb amputee. My name is Giacomo Valle. I'm going to tell you how to change the quality of life of people with leg amputation using MyLeg. As I said, this type of patient are suffering high risk of falls that cost up to 40,000 euros per patient per fall. Then the lack of feedback is one of the causes of asymmetric walking, reduced mobility, increased fatigue that create long-term medical problems in this type of patients. Finally, if you think to have a limb without sensations, you don't perceive this limb as part of your body, right? And so you probably reject to use the prosthesis. We reduce revenues for prosthesis manufacturers. Our solution is MyLeg. MyLeg is a device wearable composed by a sensory insole with pressure and position sensors that we can read in real time during walking, and we can transfer this information to a microcomputer that then drive the stimulation of the stump of the patient using surface skin electrodes. In this way, the patient can have back the feelings from the missing leg, together with the interaction of his artificial leg with the environment. Our technology is based on sophisticated algorithms that are able to convert our machine language in something understandable by the brain, and we have a patent in submission on it. This is not science fiction. This is a reality. We already tested the system with patients, demonstrating that the sensory feedback is something beneficial in the quality of life of these patients, not only in the lab, but also in activity of daily living. So where is very important for them. We have a product that can improve the quality of life for patients, that can increase the revenues for prosthetic manufacturers, and can decrease the cost for healthcare and private public insurances. The global prosthetic market of prosthetics is 1.2 billion estimation, and there are 4.8 million leg amputees only in Europe and US. And this is an example of a conservative market that we can target with MyLeg. So there are no sensory feedback devices available on the market. There are companies that are developing invasive technology, while our solution is completely non-invasive. We have the right team that have extensive experience with people with leg amputation and highly motivated to change the quality of life of people with disability. We have an aggressive but realistic 3 years roadmap to arrive to the market, considering clinical trial and device certification. And now the patient experience.
If it's possible to get more feeling in your foot, then you have more security to walk. And I think the potential of this technology is to improve daily life for people with leg prostheses. So it's had nothing to do with the superhuman, but it has something to do with getting back in a normal way.
And this technology is not only beneficial for people with limb amputation, but also in people with sensory loss due to stroke or spinal cord injury, or even diabetes and neuropathy. So the sensory loss is a global health challenge to be faced using MyLeg. Thank you for the attention, and please support MyLeg.
Thank you so much to MyLeg. Gregor, what do you think about this technical innovation?
Well, I think the potential of this technology is to improve daily life for people with leg prostheses. So I'm very Well, yeah, I mean, looking at what MyLeg is doing and the effect they already gained on the lives of the leg amputees, this is just impressive. And especially in terms of impact, as we are at Tech for Impact Award, in terms of the deepness of the impact, I really like the solution. Of course, now in terms of the breadth, this is a very clearly defined group of people that might need this help. However, I think this clear definition of the market is also a chance for MyLeg.
Thank you. Rod, maybe you have to add something.
Yeah, this time I don't have to be rescued by Donna. I thought this was sort of mind-bogglingly impressive. I was really delighted by this presentation for lots of reasons. First of all, it was one of the few that was addressing a health issue, which I thought was interesting. There used to be more of those, but this one definitely does that. I think the technology just feels brilliant. What I didn't understand, and it was, I'm sure, my understanding of it, was whether or not it was necessary for them to fully develop the prosthetic device, or whether in fact they were prepared to work with the developers of other prosthetic devices so that their technology could be embedded into them, and then they have less of a route to market challenge. To me, I thought that was really an interesting direction to travel. I think it's amazing that this is a non-evasive thing, and I'd like to understand better how a non-evasive thing sends those impulses through. But to me, that's something one couldn't understand. This is representation. And then the third thing is I would have liked to hear a bit more about the extent to which they're working with partners from the health sector. So, are they? What is their strategy about working with these partners who can really, if this is such a great technology, dramatically accelerate their growth?
Thank you so much, Rod. Eleanor.
Thank you, Rod, and thank you to the expert panel and to Giacomo. So let's move forward with another startup from Switzerland, Plaster Gas. So Plaster Gas develops catalytic technologies for the transformation of plastic waste into added value products, thus enabling true circular economy. Welcome, Felix, and we're thrilled to have you tonight. I think you might be, yes.
Yeah, sorry for the little delay. Hi everyone, my name is Felix Bobbink. I'm the co-founder and CEO of company Plaster Gas. We are a spin-off of the École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne in Switzerland, and we incorporated the company last year. And at Plaster Gas, we closed the loop of plastic recycling with catalysis. So as you may know, plastic production is at an all-time high and is expected to continue to increase in production. To give you a few numbers, today there's about 54,000 tons per day that are sent in European landfills. By 2050, the amount of plastic will have doubled compared to today. And of all the plastic things that you can think about 50% of the market share is dominated by polypropylene and polyethylene, which is your typical shampoo bottle or food packaging. Now, it is estimated that by 2030, because the situation must change, there is a market potential of $30 billion for true chemical recycling solutions in order to close the loop. Unfortunately, right now, there is no real chemical recycling solution that effectively closes this loop. Most of the technologies that are available right now are in fact towards fuel applications. And this is where we come in with our sophisticated catalytic hydrocracking process that turns these mixed plastic waste into this clear liquid product that is in fact the precursor to virgin grade plastic products. This means that we can really close the loop of plastic recycling at lower energy costs because we are working catalytically. And in terms of business, we intend to license our technology to customers worldwide. Of course, because it's plastic and the market is enormous, there's a lot of competition out there. But as I mentioned before, competing technologies usually produce these brownish oils that have fuel applications rather than material applications. We are the only one that are capable to really close the loop of the recycling. We have mapped out a 4-stage development process, a little bit like Fairbreaks, in order to bring this technology all the way to the market. And we have received feedback from potential customers on this roadmap in order to understand how we can synergistically work with them. We are currently at step 2 of the scale-up of the process, working in the laboratory, producing about 100 grams per hour of our liquid naphtha and raising funds and looking for partners to implement step 3 of the pilot. The team originates from the École Polytechnique Fédérale, and the founding team is consisting in highly trained scientists. Antoine and myself hold PhDs in catalysis, and we are lucky to be supported by a few startup ecosystem things that grant us with additional supports to develop the company and build the company, and provides us with business advisors. We have also hired strategic advisors that can help us with finance and marketing in order to sell our product in a good way. Recently, we were featured in Bilan as a startup in which to invest, and we are supported by a few instruments of the local ecosystem. And our technology is not only sustainable because it results in fewer CO2 emissions, it can also result in sustainable financial models. We have spent a lot of time working out the numbers in order to demonstrate that the financial plan can result in a profitable plant for both the customer and Plaster Gas under a licensing model system. And with this, I'd like to thank you all for your attention.
Thank you so much. Plaster Gas mentioned the situation of the competition. Rod, you have quite a good overview about the European market. What would you say from your perspective?
Well, there's lots of, again, I'm not a scientist, but there's lots of organizations that we see that are addressing this massive plastic problem. Some are quite advanced, some are less advanced. I think the key with this particular company is to get through the trials to demonstrate that actually they really can, in a very environmentally efficient way, deliver this sort of closed system, as you described it, or make the process really completely circular. I'm always a bit, just because I'm not a scientist, always a bit concerned about these, magic solutions. But these guys sound really, really impressive, and I'm sure what they're doing is amazing. But here too, I'd like to see what partners they're working with and how they're going to take this thing through the test phase and into the market.
Thank you, Rod. Michele, you are a scientist, so what's your opinion?
Thank you. And I mean, I would like to build on what Rod said. I mean, having been involved heavily in the polyethylene terephthalate recycling business for many years, I must say the level or the importance of the ecosystem and the collection system is very important. So they will have to probably look at how they collect and how these plastics are being what's the feedstock looking like on one hand side. And secondly, I think one of the threats or the risks is that their business is going to be always dependent on the crude oil cost, as it is with PET. I mean, this is clear. I mean, when the crude oil cost is low, PET recycling works well, and the other way around, right? So that's an inherent risk I think they might have to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Eleanor?
Thank you so much to all of you. So actually for this 10th and last finalist, we have received some unexpected but good news. They have announced an exit right before the award ceremony and are thus not part of the competition anymore. This is really proof This, I think, is really proof that shows how dynamic the startup scene is. Probably like a roller coaster, many downs, but also probably many ups, like this startup is witnessing at the moment, and we wish them great success. This marks the end of the pitches. I would like to thank all startups for their great pitches, vision, and passion to create positive impact.